Hello everyone, this is Koji again from Celestial Rhythms. We are really at the cusp of the most craziest month probably in our whole life. That's what it feels and what it looks in astrology too. So this January into February will be really holding on to your seat time. It will be exciting, but it also will be challenging and crazy and difficult. All you can put into that pot. So it starts tomorrow, naturally, January 6th, with that hearing starting in the Joint Congress to decide who will be the next 4 years president in the United States. So I put this post out here, don't hold your breath, January 6, 2021 is not the breakthrough. This will last for several days, if not 2 full weeks into Trump's inauguration. So I will show you why I come to this conclusion. Let's roll back a little bit to January 2nd, when Earth was closest to the Sun in its yearly rhythm at its perihelion. You have to think the Earth is not moving on a circular path, it's a slightly elliptical one, and on January the 2nd, around that time each year, the Earth is closest to the Sun and readjusts its relationship with the Sun, and in that sense with the greater Logos, Sun representing the life force, the source of life force. So this relationship with the Sun is readjusted, redefined, and I have found that these moments are extremely powerful in their predictive potentials. So what we see here is the heliocentric chart to start with, calculated for Greenwich, and I wrote a little essay on why Greenwich on my Celestial Rhythms Facebook page, and I would invite all of you who are interested in my work to join that group, Celestial Rhythms astrological Facebook page. What you see here is a T-square, Nessus, Orcus, Huya, the most exact aspect in the ascendant-descendant axis, which is the, I would say, the manifestation axis. The ascendant is where the sky grows out of the earth, in that sense, the eastern horizon, and the western is where the sky is moving back into earth. So it is those two critical points in astrology which are the most dynamic, and we have this T-square. So I talked about this T-square before, because this is active for a long time, for many years, and it happens to be most exact last year and this year. Orcus is about alchemy and getting to the very bottom of reality, very similar to Pluto, a force deep in the underground. Nessus is the pathological behavior we are dealing with on our planet right now: abuse, cheating, deception, all these pathological traits which have come right into the limelight. I mean, you can't see it in a better way. It's right here at the most exalted place over the Greenwich horizon, which is the fractal for the whole Earth, as I'm arguing. And here we have Huya. Huya is another newer planet named after a Venezuelan rain god, about transformation, about therapy, releasing past life, karma, and all that involved. So all which has to do with our past is being transitioned, transformed, realigned, and it is a great alchemical process in the bigger picture, but it's a difficult one we are going through. It is the path to liberation we're on. Nothing comes for free. We have to go through that process, but the prospects of what's coming after are just wonderful. The year 2021 is the one which will bring us into that energy of the golden age. We just have to go step by step. First, traverse through all these critical few weeks. I don't think it will be too long, probably in the end of February. March maybe is still a bit difficult, but from April, May on, it should get lighter and lighter by the day. Very promising, this Jupiter-Mercury conjunction right at midheaven heliocentrically. That speaks of optimism, but also of expansion of our understanding of our mind in Aquarius, the sign of the new age per se. Uranus is ruling that sign. Uranus T-squaring this consciousness axis, this global consciousness axis from the 12th house, so it's still a little hidden Uranus influence. It's not fully coming through yet. It's just as I say, we have first to do our homework to get ready for that next chapter. Interesting here, the ascendant degree 1252 Gemini is the 7th house cusp of the American Nations chart. I'm just showing you this quickly here. This is the American Nations chart for July 4th, 1776. And that was Dane Rudihar who came up with that exact time by rectification. And this chart is really holding up to its promise. I have been predicting exact dates before using this chart, and also it shows really the psychology of the American nation very well. I don't want to go into this right now. I have done that another time, and we'll get back to it another time again sometime soon too. So just show you that this axis indicates, yes, the main action will happen in America and United States, which is no surprise. So if we beam now into the Washington chart for that same moment, Earth at perihelion, January 2nd, which was setting the pace for these coming few months into July. In July again will be a reset point when Earth is farthest away from our planet. It's these 2 points, like it's kind of like new moon and full moon. So here in the American nation's capital, we have also Aquarius strongly placed, this time right at the ascendant, and Jupiter is here too, very prominently placed, very close to that powerful point, has just risen. In fact, if you think the zodiac moves in this direction, that's due to Earth's rotation. Naturally, in the other way, we see the sky growing out of the Earth, literally speaking. So Jupiter has just been rising, so has been Saturn, Pluto, Mercury, and the Sun. So this is early morning in Washington on that day when this reboot happened. Very interesting. I mean, I could say many things about this chart. I just really wanted to boil it down to the most important snippets, as there's many more charts I want to go through here with you today. Interesting, the degree of midheaven and midnight is pretty much identical with President Trump's President Trump's okay President Trump's chart. He has the midheaven at 24 degrees Taurus. So this is another indication that he will be very important this year too. He will be one of our guiding lights through this period. So that's already a big heads up that things are on track, despite of what it looks like. The moon in Leo, very beautiful. That speaks for that freedom movement, sovereignty. We are, as a global community, reclaiming that. We are fighting against all these dark forces on many fronts, and naturally that first big step has to be President Trump to be reassigned into power, and he has all the people working on that, helping us, the people, to get to that place of freedom and sovereignty. I have a few points in here which you might not recognize: Hades and Kronos and Poseidon. These are hypothetical planets. They were devised by German astrologers in the early 20th century. I have studied them when I was many decades ago, and I use them occasionally. It just made sense to use them this time, these three. There's more than those, there's 8 in total. Kronos is exactly opposing the sun here in this reset chart. Hades has been really strong last year. Kronos is about big changes, shifts, something of great magnitude, and that is the reason I left this point in here, to show this is another indication that really big stuff is coming down over the next 6 to 12 months. So now let's jump forward. This is January 5, and the Sun has transitioned into hexagram 54 between 15:07:30 and 20 degrees 45. That's according to the Human Designs teaching. This area is resonating with I Ching hexagram 54, the marrying maiden, its traditional name. An interesting hexagram, as it kind of is the fractal of the yin-yang symbol. I would like you to look that up yourself if you're interested. I don't have it here on my screen right now, but it is a most powerful interactive energy of light and dark, good and bad, and it makes total sense that this energy would be activated in this first phase of the final battle, I would call it, which starts tomorrow with that congressional hearing. Today Mercury has a conjunction with Pluto. That happens once a year. Mercury and Pluto, that is the mental energy piercing through obstacles and issues and going really to the core of the matter. It is trying to find out the truth behind all appearances, and also to closely inspect power structures. Pluto also gives great momentum to thinking as such, to the ability to pierce through difficulties and see behind appearances. In hexagram 61, that is 61 is the next hexagram where the Sun will join in 5-6 days. on the 10th, actually, from the 10th to the 15th, the sun will be in this hexagram 61, inner truth, kind of really finding the hidden diamond within. What really matters, the essence of the whole script, if you want. So this chart is interesting as it's a beginning, a seed chart again for a 5-6 day period. 0 degrees Aquarius here in Washington at the 4th house cusp. That was the degree where Jupiter and Saturn met on December 21st. So it has that kind of departure feeling of going into a new era, new land, but also due to being at the 0 degree, there is still lots of turbulence and uncertainty. It's a chaotic phase. The first and last degrees of signs are very chaotic in nature. It's that those two phases interfering with each other, and chaotic is probably the best way to call it. And as Jupiter and Saturn had their meeting in that very first degree, we can expect the whole next 20-year period to have some of that a departure feeling, getting into something totally new. There's lots of uncertainties, lots of surprises, and also lots of turbulence and unexpected twists and turns. So it will be like opening the curtains to a whole new panorama which we have not been familiar with yet. So it will be also a shock in many ways to many people, naturally, even those who have quite a bit of a reality check already, I would call that. It will be awesome and frightening at some point too. Mars is in the very last degree of Aries, has been in its own sign for almost 7 months. So Mars is just about getting ready. Actually on the 6th, I will show you in a minute the chart of its Taurus ingress. So just want to say Mars is here with Aries. That is ERIS, that is this little body here, which I have been talking about several times already. The shaker, I call it, the one who throws in the challenge to get to the bottom of the pile and find out what's really hiding there, to bring it all out into the open, at first creating challenges and chaos in search of the deeper truth and the greater harmony. Aries challenging Pluto for first and foremost. This is that slow moving square between 2019 and roughly 2022. These two planets will be for several times in an exact 90-degree aspect. Pluto has been challenged by Aries already right after its discovery. Aries was discovered in 2003 and was found to be slightly larger than Pluto, which then finally dethroned Pluto, took its planetary status away. So there is an interesting dynamics between the two. Pluto, in its core essence, representing power, worldly power, naturally in Capricorn, for first and foremost governments and structures, which are challenged by Aries, who wants to expose the mechanics to find a higher balance of truth. If we move on now to tomorrow, and I think I will just introduce here a few more charts quickly and then do a second cut here so they don't get too long. So this one is the waxing half moon tomorrow, January 6th, early morning in Washington, 4:37 a.m. The day gets started with a waxing half moon. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. A waning half moon, that is, the moon is in its last quarter. That is the lunar phase, which started 3 weeks ago on December 14th with the solar eclipse around 23 degrees Sagittarius. That was that big event, which again was setting the pace for a whole 6-month period or 12 months. It's these nodal points which hold extreme power in the sense that they plant seeds which then slowly get to sprout and to get into the light of day and evolve. It's that organic process our whole universe is evolving through. So what I want to say here is that this is the final week of this solar eclipse month, bringing the energies to a conclusion. The waning half moon is about reorientation. It's the crisis, a crisis in thinking, as then Rudyard put it. It's whatever so far has happened challenges us to rewrite the story and to adjust to a new understanding. So that is what will be happening the next 7 days. I guess it's very accurate, very meaningful that this would go down in this 7-day period between the 6th and the 13th of January, when there will be a new moon actually again, and this time exactly conjunct Pluto. So I'm just giving you here a few snippets away already. It's gonna get more intense, period. So you better be ready. You better know that this is, as I repeat myself, probably the most critical month in your whole life we are getting into. Critical in many ways, and it is also awesome what will come out on the other end, but it's a process. So the next chart I will cover in my next follow-up here. I just quickly want to walk you through. This is then the Congress Electoral Review opening. Pluto here in the 7th house, in the zenith, the American nation's Pluto, 2732, right here at the top, together with Mercury by transit. This in itself shows that this is a dispute about power, about the succession of power, which is opened on that day, at that time. It's again amazing to see the synchronicity the universe has in store when these things are scheduled, how accurate it's represented, what's really going on. So I just want to walk you quickly here through the rest of the charts I will cover in my next episodes. Mars entering Taurus, then in the evening, 5:27 p.m. on the 6th. Then the Sun will conjunct with Arrokoth 2 days later. Arrokoth, the one which brings enlightenment, which allows to see the whole picture. Then 2 days later again, as I mentioned, on the 10th of January, the Sun will enter hexagram 61, inner truth, from the 10th into the 15th of January. On the 11th, something very powerful happens too. Pherois, a little body, a centaur, and these little bodies are hard to ignore because they have such a meaningful impact. More on that coming. And then we have the new moon on the 13th, Mars Saturn square on the 13th too, and then the Sun Pluto conjunction on the 14th. So yeah, you see there's a whole bunch of powerful alignments, and I don't think it will be over by the 14th yet, and I show you quickly why. Look at where the black moon is here, 929 Taurus, and look at what the midpoint chart between that moment Sun Pluto conjunction and the American people's chart is showing 922 Taurus at midheaven. This is not looking like a resolved issue. It will be difficult to the very last days before the inauguration. That much we can say for certain. So I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you, and if you enjoy, just share it, pass it on, and talk to you soon.